Our next task is to add a paddle sprite. And so if we look inside of our our Python file, what we need to do is we need to create a set of variables that describe the paddle. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say paddle width, maybe I could say p width is equal to 40 pixels. And then I'm going to say p height is equal to 150 pixels. You could change that to be whatever you want, of course. And now I need to go ahead and make a surface that is going to be 40 pixels wide and 150 pixels tall. So I'm going to say paddle is equal to pygame.surface, and then have two parentheses in that, and I'm going to have p underscore width, comma, p underscore height. And so this is a tuple, right? It's two pieces of data that are enclosed in a parentheses, and this is going to be the width of the surface, this is going to be the height of the surface, and I'm going to put here dot convert, which allows the Pygame to more efficiently render these surfaces. So you don't really need to know too much about that. Just understand that this is going to be the height and the width of the surface. Alright, so now that I have that, I go ahead and run my code and I see no change, or I should see no change. Let's see. No video mode has been set. Okay, so what is that all about? Okay, so that error is that I'm trying to create a surface before I create my screen, and that's a big no-no, right? So you can only make a surface after you've made the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and take that line of code and I'm going to move it on down below the creation of the screen. So I run the program and I see no change. Okay, and so why is that? Well, there's two reasons. The first reason is that when you make a surface, its defaulted color is black. So this paddle is black and the screen is black. So it's black on black and we don't see it. A second reason why we don't see it is because we need to place this paddle onto this screen and then flip it. Okay, and put it onto the monitor. So the way that we put this paddle onto this screen is we use the blit command. So we're going to come inside here and we're going to go into the game loop and say screen.blit, and the screen.blit needs two things. It needs the surface, which is in paddle, and it needs to know where to put it onto the screen. Okay, and so if I go ahead and hold on, let me go ahead and comment that out. If I go ahead and show you the screen here, the screen, the top left corner is at 0, 0. So the X here is at 0. The X over here is at 920. The Y here is at 0. And then the Y down here is increasing and it gets up to 570. So if I want my paddle to appear right about here, what do I need to do? I need to have it be on the X at about 10 or 20, and it needs to be on the Y at a certain amount, right? So let's go ahead and figure what that is. So then right here in the paddle, I am going to use a fraction of the width. So I'm going to say width divided by 20 on the X, right? And then on the height, I'm going to do height divided by 2 minus 1, yeah, that's right, minus 1/2 of the height of the paddle. So p underscore height divided by 2. Okay. And so what is that going to do for me? Well, when you place a surface onto the screen, it places the top left corner of this paddle onto the screen at this point right here. So if I put 0 and 0, it's going to, if this is our screen here, it's going to put the paddle right here in the corner with the top left corner at 0, 0. Now my x is at width divided by 20, which is about here, and the width of the screen divided by 20, which is right about here, and then height divided by 2, which is right here in the middle of the screen. But if I just say height divided by 2, it's going to put the top left corner of the paddle in the middle of the screen, and it's not going to be centered. Okay, so we're not able to see any of this, so I'm going to go ahead and up here and make another color, and I'm going to make a white color. And if you remember, it's 255, 255, 255. Over here, I'm going to make sure that my paddle is white by saying paddle.fill, and in here I'm going to put white. Okay, so you can use this fill command with any surface, right? The screen is a surface, but it is a special surface. Okay, this surface here, when we flip, it shows whatever is on this screen to the monitor. Right? This surface here is not special, and it will not show on the monitor unless we blit it and we place this screen onto this surface onto the screen. All right, so that's a little bit complicated, but I'm sure you'll understand it as we continue working with Pygame. So let me finish that up with the parentheses, and I can show you how that works. Okay, so you can see here I have my paddle. It's dead center in the middle of the screen, and if I didn't want to do that, I could just do height divided by 2, and I could show you why that's a bad idea. So I run that, and I get this. Okay, and it might look okay to you, but what about if I increase my height to 350? Then it becomes very obvious that that's problematic. And why? Because this point here describes the top left corner of this surface, right? So the top left corner of the surface is at height divided by 2, which gets the paddle to be off center. Okay, and in order to make it dead center, we subtract from height divided by 2 half of the height of the paddle. Okay, that ensures that the paddle will be dead center all the time. So I'm going to do p underscore height divided by 2, and I run that, and that's not working. So I have width divided by 2. Oh, okay, I got to delete that little parentheses there and add one over here, and I can run it, and I get this. Okay, of course I don't want it to be that big. The game would be too easy, so I'm going to make it 150. And there we go.